On January 27, DraftKings sent an email to their customers saying the biggest winner last night was betting against Jontay Porter. Most people don't even know who that is, but somebody did and made lots of money. One person made a 6-bet combo on Jontay doing poorly for $80,000 and won $1.1 million. Usually, you can only bet like $1,000 to $2,000 on player bets. So this looked weird. Then on March 20th, people betting against Jontay Porter won $1 million again. Something fishy was going on. The betting companies told the NBA about strange betting, and Porter is now being looked into. When you watch the games, nothing looks too suspicious. He's just a backup player doing normal stuff like blocking. Some people say he tried to miss this easy shot. Look at that guilty face when it goes in. But what about this? Tom pointed this out. Porter's number 34 in yellow at the end of the quarter, ready to grab a missed shot, but his defender moves away. Yes, he's open, but then the ball bounces right to him. Instead of grabbing it, though, what was that? He taps it to his teammate at the end of the quarter. Have you ever seen that before? That was his third rebound of the game, and it's only the first quarter. The total bet was 4.5. So you can see Jontay go right to the coaches and start pointing to his eye. So he left the game saying he hurt his eye again. But nowhere in the minutes he played did he get hit in the eye. He wasn't even on the injury list before the game. But maybe he got that rebound and was like 3 in the first quarter. I'm out of here. A betting company worker told ESPN that people were trying to do whatever they could to bet against John Porter when playing the Clippers. And then just a few days ago, the same thing happened. We had a bunch of people trying to bet against him again. So it looks like Jontay told people to bet against him because that's what he could control. Maybe someone from organized crime came to him and offered to pay him money to play badly. Then that criminal sent people all over the country to different betting places to make bets. It's really suspicious if one person makes a huge bet, but spread out it raises fewer red flags. But after getting away with it, they did it again. So stupid. Jontay Porter is a random player, but that's exactly why he would do this. Porter has a special contract in Toronto, which means he plays in both the minor leagues and the NBA. He makes $415,000 per year, which is a lot of money, but not compared to his teammates. He is surrounded by millionaires, including his brother Michael Porter Jr., who signed a $179 million contract. I'm not saying this is right. This is why the mafia might have picked him. So what happens next? Well, in the new player agreement, the rule says any player who bets money on any game will get punished. The punishment can include a fine, suspension, being kicked out, and or being banned forever. So it's up to Commissioner Adam Silver, and honestly, he is lucky it is Jontay Porter. He could punish this guy really hard and suspend him for life to scare other players. But this might not be the last time. And if he suspends Jontay for life, what happens if it's a top 100 player next time? Are you going to kick him out too? According to The Ringer, the top 100 ends with Terry Rozier, Chris Paul, Isaiah Hartenstein, Walker Kessler, and Brandon Miller. Some casual fans don't know them outside of CP3, but it would be a huge deal if any of these guys got banned for life. Jontay is such a backup player that Silver could probably suspend him for 2 years, and it's basically a lifetime ban. But this kind of thing was going to happen eventually. Silver was the first commissioner to support legal gambling in 2014. One of my most important jobs as commissioner of the NBA is to protect the honesty of professional basketball and keep public trust in the league and our sport. I believe that sports betting should be brought out of the underground and into the sunlight where it can be properly watched and controlled, which is exactly what happened. But I guarantee people will say this is proof the NBA is fake. This kind of thing probably happened before, but we never found out about it because gambling was illegal. Now we've got companies like DraftKings who can call up the NBA and say, hey, we noticed something weird. Back in the day, an illegal bookie wasn't doing that. So because it's illegal, Jonty Porter may have gotten caught here, but at the same time, it hurts confidence in the NBA. Obviously, Underdog sponsors this channel, but I'm trying to tell this story and report on it as fairly as possible, but legal gambling is why Jonty Porter got caught. What's crazier is what happened in baseball. Now, you might have heard this story, but most people don't know what actually happened. Shohei Ohtani is like the Victor Wembanyama of baseball, a new player from overseas who can do things we haven't seen before. But this week, the FBI says he sent an illegal bookie $1 million. So Shohei's people say it was actually his translator betting on sports. And Ohtani was covering his friend's losses. The translator then gets interviewed and says, yeah, Ohtani didn't trust me, so he logged onto his account and sent the money himself. No problem. Except you can't send $1 million to an illegal bookie. That's a crime. Ohtani could get fined, suspended, go to jail, or get kicked out of the country. So his people changed their original story and said, wait, actually the translator stole the money and Shohei didn't even know. How obvious can it be that this man is taking the blame for his famous friend? A translator makes, I don't know, let's just say like 6 figures a year. Reports say this dude was $45 million in debt. What bookie would let that guy get that deep in debt unless he knew who was actually paying the bill? So baseball is looking into it, but nobody thinks they're going to suspend their biggest star. Baseball actually looks really fake here. At least the NBA can get out of this one looking somewhat clean. But will that kind of thing happen in the NBA? Well, gambling has been legal in Europe for a long time. Their biggest scandal was back in 2009. Around 200 people, including 32 players, were involved in rigging about 200 games across 9 countries. But here's the catch. The most famous rigged game was played in Turkey. The rest of the matches were teams no one's ever heard of. People thought it might be in the Premier League or maybe La Liga, even in France. But no, it's just not worth it for super rich players to get involved. So criminals target refs and backup players like Jonty Porter who don't make that much money. And the average salary in the NBA is $10 million, the highest average in American pro sports. I'm not saying it's impossible, obviously not. But I would first look at, college sports where this has happened before, or even low-paid NFL players before the NBA. So hopefully the NBA puts a limit on backup players like this and keeps a close eye on their referees, because otherwise another scandal is coming. But one thing the NBA would never admit is changing their rules mid-season. But there is clear evidence they did just that and lied to their fans about it. So I broke down the entire thing and what they're actually covering up.